Hi everybody, Creative Crafts here, and I made a video a while back asking everybody what color should I paint the chair, the wood part of the chair. Should I leave it this color or should I paint it white? Well, I got absolutely no response. So I'm just going to do it with my thing, what I think, because I'm going to use that material. So I decided, I think white would be better. So I'm going to be using the white. So right now what I have to do is, first thing, this video may be a long video. I'm trying to make it short as possible. But what I need to do, the very first thing is take these things here off. And then I have to take the material off. And these things go all the way around here on the arms. They were here, but I took that off already. I'm trying to take the material off easily so that I can use that as a form. And what is another thing is, it's also here in the back. So I also have this here. So I have to do all that, take all these off, which I'm trying to use a nail file to, gently remove it. But this one is a very flimsy nail file. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably use scissors. I'm going to try not to scuff this area up at all. I'm just going to try to leave it, it's going to take a while. But the first step is, when you want to renovate a chair like this, is I just suggest that you pick out your material first, decide what you want to do, if you want to keep the chair white, or keep it the natural color, sand it down and put it to really the natural color of the wood, or paint it. I decided I'm going to paint it white, like I said at the beginning. So the first step to doing this is removing all the material and the little things here. I'm going to try to save them, but I did buy some new tacks, some silver tacks to put on it instead of having these old ones here. This is all one wire. It's not little tacks you put on here like this. So I'm going to have to do this totally different. So we'll see how that works. Like I said, the first step is taking off these things, which is not going to be easy. Like I said, you can, if you're a professional furniture person, you have the materials and the tools for it to do it easily, but I'm not. I'm just a person who does things DIY. So what I'm going to do now is try to take the rest of these things off, like I said. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to try to take the material off as gently as possible. And then we'll go to the next step, which is I will show you what it looks like when it's free from all the material and stuff that's on here. There's like a little layer that goes between the back and the front. I will keep that on there. And then I took off that side, took it off. I'm thinking I'm going to keep it off. I'm not going to put a new one on. I'm just going to sand this all down. And as you can see, there was tons of staples on here. I don't want, maybe they went crazy with it at the time when they made it or renovated. I don't know if it was renovated or if it was, this was the original made one. But they had so many staples, have some little gashes and things inside there from the staples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some wood filler, fill it up, and then I'm going to sand everything down so nice, so that when I do paint everything white, which I'm going to be using a glossy wood paint so that it's nice and easy to wash. And after that, of course, you first primer, then you put the paint, and then I'm going to put like a varnish on it to protect it. And then I'm going to do the upholstery. But more important that once you get everything off there and do all the touch-ups on the wood and stuff, then you can start working on the material part. But this is what it looks like now. And yeah, I had to take a lot of staples off. My hand is a little red from the screwdriver and the plier, tiny little needle nose pliers that I had that try to help get them off. So everybody, I'm taking the back part off, and I just wanted to show you what I was talking about. There are so many staples in this chair, and it's not just for the material itself, it's also staples in each area here in these parts here throughout the whole thing, as you can see here. And I just want to give you a little warning. If you want to make a renovate a chair, old chair like this, I suggest that you either get the right tools. Right now I'm just using a screwdriver and needle nose pliers. If I had the right tools, I'm sure it'd be easy to take the staples out, but the staples are really, really old, and some of them are breaking at the point where it's stapled in. So I can only get parts of it out. Some I get the whole thing out, but the part, you know, like here, there's one right here that's still stuck there. I try to pull it out with the needle nose pliers and there's no way. So I'm gonna have to get a small hammer or something and hammer that deeper inside the wood so that it's not causing any kind of scratches, because the other day I scratched myself on one piece that I didn't notice was there. But I just wanted to let you know that, show you here. This is what you're going to have to go through when you renovate a chair. And remember, this has the back, the front, the bottom piece where you sit, and then the arms, which the arms I'm going to leave the way they are, like I said. But like I said, I just wanted to say, check this out and you'll see. You know, I'm still trying to pull out, I got a lot of them out. You can see here the holes, and I'm still trying to get the rest of them out. But when I do that, you know, then once all this is done, then I can start measuring the material that I want to use for the chair. So let's get this one part done, and then the next part is sanding down. So everybody, I finished taking everything off. The cushions seem to be okay. The bottom part needs a little bit more foam, but that shouldn't be so hard to get a piece to go like that. I'm not going to take this off because it has a nice form to it, so I'm going to leave it like this. The back end, you can see the back foam too is still good, so I'm going to reuse that again, and of course add maybe some more cushion on that part too, so it's more comfortable sitting. But now that I'm done with this, the next step is sanding and then painting. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm just sanding it down slightly, and then I will wipe it down with a cloth, because you want to make sure that there's no more, not totally smooth edges. The sides that you want to make sure that are smooth are the areas, like, you know, where the staples were in. That's what I'm doing here, making sure there's nothing sticking up, that it's smooth. I'm doing that everywhere on the whole chair, or if there's any staples still stuck in it, and you can pull those out or use a hammer and stick them better back inside. And like I said, you just because you're painting over it, you don't want to make it total, you don't have to be perfect with it, but you just want to make sure that any kind of flaw that's on there, that you try to get it out of there, and you go over it everywhere slightly, so when you do paint it, the paint sticks to the wood better that way. Painting it without doing this, you could, but what would happen is that the paint would chip, and it won't last as long. So this extra step will help, you know, preserve the paint that when you do it. So everybody, as you can see here, I put tape in areas to cover certain places, so that when I start painting, that it doesn't go all over the cushion. I didn't want to do that. This area in the back doesn't really matter, because what I'm going to do, the reason why I had to cover the cushion is because I'm going to be spray painting. There's one area there that I still have to cover, but I'm going to be spray painting primer on the chair first, and then I will use I will paint by hand the glossy white paint on top of that. So first I gotta do is make sure you cover the areas that you don't want any of the paint to get on. That back area, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be totally covered anyhow. So, but the cushion, if you get spray paint on it, it gets hard and it can break. So I have to make sure that I cover that area first. And of course, the bottom of the floor here, you have to cover it with plastic too. So that is one of the steps you have to do. So everybody, I just finished painting it now white, and now I'm letting that, it looks really good, I think. So now I'm letting that dry overnight. I used spray paint that I didn't decided I was going to use normal paint, but I decided to use spray paint because it will look much better and smoother on the chair. And now after that's dried, tomorrow I will spray a varnish so it has a nice little shine to it. And then after that, we can do the material. So everybody, I just wanted to show you the next step is putting the gloss. As you can see, it looks great. And yeah, that was the next step. Now I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then we can go to the material. Hi everybody, the next step is doing the material, which you see what I did here. I laid the material, the parts of the chair that I saved. I try to preserve it by being careful when I took it off the chair so that I make sure I have the correct size of the material that I need. I made it just a slight bigger so that I can cut it off a little bit later. But this is my suggestion, is to do it this way because you get the exact size of what you need. If you rip it or it didn't have one, then I would suggest that you get a measuring roll, something to measure the chair with and the sizes that you need. So, but like I said, this is the easiest way to do it. Use the old material and you'll have the perfect size that you need. So now that I got this done, the next step is filling up the foam. The foam area, make sure there's enough foam or whatever I want to put in it. And then we can start putting on the material. Hi everybody. The next step is the material that you're going to put inside on here on the chair now. I cut the foam that was on top a little bit and stuffed some extra pieces of foam in it. So now that the chair is really comfy, it doesn't sink all the way in like before. So now I'm putting the material over it. I showed you already that part, how to measure it. So now you're going to take the material and then you're going to take the staples and go all around like this. I suggest that you please be careful when you're working with the staple gun. Make sure that you don't staple your fingers and you don't staple the wrong areas. Don't go staple too long. Like what I did here, I went in between where the staples were once before with the other material. I try to follow that. Any excess material that's on there, I will cut off with an X-Acto knife. Whatever's extra, that should be fine. And then I did one side first, and like I said over here in this corner and these corners here, you want to make sure you want to stick your materials extra, you make sure there's extra there and stick it in. That's where the cut part was. So I did this one side first. I tried to videotape and somehow I must have not touched record. And then I pulled it tight, not too tight, so that when you sit, all the staples will fall right out. You put it tight. This is a stretch material, and also vinyl. And I decided to staple all this. This is all extra material, so I'm going to cut all this off later. So, like I said, right now, I'm stapling areas that, make sure there's enough staples in it, because you do not want to have this chair lifting up, the material lifting up. And when you're using the staple gun, don't go lightly over it. You have to hold it, the area that you're holding on, and put pressure and hold it directly against the wood area. That's how you get the staples to go in deep, correctly. If you don't, like here, I didn't do it correct one time. It's okay, they can stay there, because I'm going to put something over this area anyway. And Now that I did all this, it's time to do the front. I did the 2 sides. I pulled both sides close, you know, tight. Not too tight, but tight enough. And now it's time to do the front area, which you see here. And it has just a little bit room. I'm not going to pull down now on this side. I'm going to make sure there's still a little extra room there. And then I'm going to pull the back. And the seat should be perfect. So let's get this part down. Like I said, push down the corners area here. Make sure they're all inside. Take any extra material that's there and make sure that it's folded really well into it in the corner only. You don't want it to, yeah, if it's a little bit, that's okay. Here I cut too wrong. This was supposed to go inside here more. But what I could do is pull this over and then pull this down, pull this over a little bit more so that the folds are here, you know, in the corner and not in the front. So now that I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling this down and get my staple gun and make sure where I'm going to staple it that I do it correctly. You see how I just did it right there? Now I'm going to do over here because I was holding this area and I didn't want to get too close to my... And then when I cut just a tad, I'm going to stick this in with maybe one of those little knitting needles or whatever. But right now I'm just going to pull this down and make sure I get the areas that I want. Like I said, hold it close, and while you're at it, make sure you pull it down, because if you don't watch what you're doing, you're going to get too much of a crease, and you don't want to get creases in it. So that one was a little too... Remember, don't pull too much because you're going to be pulling the back part. And every time you see like a crease somewhere, I suggest that you put extra staples there. Lock. Unlock. Lock. Open. Get the staple out. Ah, shit. I didn't want to get them all out. Staples back in. So now what I want to do is take this end here, and you want to stick that on the inside. And then you take your little bit of material that you can find there, use your thumb, unlock, and then make sure you put something there too. There we go. Like here needs one. So now that that's pretty good, you can cut this up a little bit later. And then, like I said, this area here, you need to fix yourself. After you sit on it a little bit and the material stretches, everything will go in place. So, actually I should put one more here. really nice and strong. Yeah, got it. So now that you got this area here, you can see how nice this looks right now. So now that I'm done with this, I'm gonna pull, of course, both sides, fold the cut areas inwards so that they don't stick out, and make sure you stick them inside that corner. And then you can start stapling this area. Nope, that wasn't good enough. I wasn't holding it. Lock. So now I'm getting close to the end area here, and I don't want to have too much folds. I just want the folds on the corners. So I'm going to try to get this to fold in on this end and not near here. So what I'm going to do now is, should unlock it if I want to work with it. So now what I want to do is stick this area, try to stick it in without it. See, now you have the little folds here, but when you first do fresh material on a chair, what's going to happen is it's going to cause a little bit of wrinkles. But after you work with this material, little scissors, and I want to stick, don't want to cause any damage. I should have fixed that better, but it's all right. I can find a way to fix that. So now that I'm done with this, what I could do is take my little scissors, if they work. They're not very sharp. No, I told you they're not gonna work. So now that you did this, turn the chair around. I think it looks great. My feet. So let me lift this up a little bit. Closer. No, a little bit further is better. So there you go. I just finished upholstering this, and now what I gotta do now is cut off all this extra, and then I'm gonna do this area, the front and in the back. I have to put the foam back on there on that front part so that when I sit down, I can hit my back against it, excuse me, and it'll be comfy. So this is how you can actually put the upholstery on. To make it even, like I said before, you have to start with one end, go to another end, and then go to one side and go to the other side, so you can pull it down all evenly. If you think you can go all the way across here and then go go across here and then go across here, you shouldn't do that. You should do one side, this side, then this side, and then the other side. And make sure you pull the material pretty good. This has a good cushion to it. And before, the chair, when I bought it, it wasn't even up like this. It was sunken in because it was so old. So now that I put fresh foam in it, more inside, now it's pretty well preserved. So now I'm going to cut the rest of this off and put the back on. It's the same method that I did here. You do one, I can do the top first, then do the bottom, and then I do the sides, and then I can turn it around and do the same thing to the back end. So, and like I said, be very careful when you use the staple gun. When it's left alone, please unplug it or put the safeties on. And now, when I'm done with that, we'll go to the next step, which is putting my rim that I want to put around here, like that copper rim that was around on here the first time on the old chair. But now, let's do this. And yeah, and then we'll go to the trimming part where I put the trim on, and then we're done with the chair. So let me finish the top part, and then we'll get to that. So everybody, after a little bit of a fight, I got the back on. I folded to make it so it's perfectly even, so I don't have to cut anything out, because you can see this even better. I folded all the material on the inside, in the back of the foam that this is on right now, and I did it slowly. I folded one end, stapled it. Of course, I went from this way, and then I pulled so that it looks like it does now. I think it looks great so far. So I need to do the back here now. And then I am done. And then after that, like I said before, the next step is putting the trimming. So everybody, now it's time to put the trimming on. And this, after I cut down all the extra material, I used an X-Acto knife. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking the hot glue gun and I'm gluing this string that I bought. And I'm putting this all around it. I think that looks really good, how it looks. I'm trying not to put too much glue so you cannot see it here or here. But I'm going to go around the whole thing, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the front and for the sides of the chair. And then I'm done with my chair, and then I can use it. So let's do this first. You know, of course, I bought this color. You can get gold, you can get normal color brown, whatever you want. But I thought silver would match better with the white and with the blues and the other colors. So I decided to use the silver. Didn't cost me much. I think it cost me about €8. That's about $9 for about 4 meters. So I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to go do this side, and then I'm going to do the front and, of course, the sides. And the next step is double checking everything to make sure that it all came out correct and that it looks good. And then we're done with the project. So everybody, the chair is done. I'm so excited. I think the chair looks awesome, how it looks with the silver trimming. It's all around the whole chair and also in the back. The arms, I'm not sure if I'm going to leave them like that. I might buy some more of that rope and wrap it around the two sides. I'm not sure. But my project right now is finally done. Took me only a few days to do it, but it was fun. And yeah, if you like my video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. My videos come once a week or once every other week. It all depends on how much chaos is in my life. We all have chaos. Anyway, I just hope you enjoyed this video. I try to make it as short as possible. This was actually pretty easy doing this. So, yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.